So we're here at the workhouse down here. Gives you a good idea where we are. And we're here because we thought it would be cool to see it. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but we'll see. If not, we've seen the outside of the buildings, and that's something. Leave this on for a little bit. So a gentleman showed up while I was reading the sign there, and he said, "Are you here for a tour?" I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So he's going to get set up and everything, and then we're going to take a tour, and we'll try and bring you guys along.
And you would have been there for maybe, if you're lucky, a year, and you would have ended up in the mass grave out back.
Just, unknowns.
That was the most work done by women. Most of the men, so you can kind of see the green hill there just behind us, with the 2 trees on it.
Mark graves.
No, so that would have been behind that hill, there was a quarry, and that was all the work done by men in the quarry, breaking stones for roads and malls.
And these are older people.
Well, the workhouses were kind of different. So the workhouses, the original point of them was to be like a safety net for the very destitute, the very poor. This is a place, the plan was this was a place for them to come in, get food and work, get strong, and then when they were strong they could leave and find work or emigrate or whatever.
Or emigrate, yes.
That was the kind of the plan of these workhouses.
Okay.
Didn't work out that way.
Never really worked out that way.
It never worked out that way.
So the British government would have paid for construction for all the workhouses in all of Ireland. There was about 176, so they were kind of everywhere. But once they finished construction, it became the local landlord's burden. So this is another way of taxing the local landlords, is how they funded it. When you were trying to enter the workhouse, there was a couple of rules. One was that anyone that you were living with had to come into the workhouse together. So the whole house had to be emptied. It would be very common to be living with your parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, families of 13 or 14 could come into the workhouse at one time. And if you owned more than 1/8 of an acre, which is next to nothing, you had to sign that over to the landlord. So you lost your little piece of land as well, just coming into the workhouse.
Oh, God.
Well, the landlords had to pay to have people here, right?
The landlords are very rich.
So they could pay them to have you here, or give you 50 pounds and put you on a boat and send you to America.
Some workers did that as well. Most of the emigration ships that were paid for went to Australia. Now, there was a lot of family ships that set to sea. A lot of them went to America and London, to Liverpool, and stuff like that. A lot of the vessels weren't even seaworthy, so a lot of ships sank.
Yep.
And then there was a couple of workhouses, well, there was at least one workhouse up, I think it was Roscommon, where if the workhouse got full, the landlord would organise this walk up to the coast, and he'd tell all the inmates or paupers that are in the workhouse that there were ships waiting on the coast for him. So he'd walk them up to the coast at the corner of Sligo, and then just leave them there.
Had a workhouse and she ended up there, but not talked about, silence talked about.
Yeah, no, you didn't talk about workhouses or what happened in them. No. You can see that yellow building over there. That was the shop at the co-op here up until 2006 or 7.
Oh yeah.
I went in there and my father and my grandfather come from a farm background to buy stuff out of that co-op shop. Growing up, this was only ever to me a co-op. It was never mentioned as a workhouse.
Yeah.
And that's why most of the workhouses, when they closed, a lot were turned into hospitals or old folks' homes, buried the history of these places. They weren't talked about.
Yeah.
And that's why the older generations, again, did not want to go to hospital, did not want to go to an old folks' home.
Because the memory, the idea.
The workhouse buildings, the shame of the workhouse went through them buildings.
Yeah, terrible shame.
Like, I remember giving a tour to an older man a couple of years ago, and he said, "I will not go into an old folks' home. I've told my children that if they want to put me in there, I'd rather you take me out to the field and shoot me, rather than going to these buildings." Yeah, so the landlord, instead of doing the day-to-day business himself, he would have appointed a master and his wife the matron to oversee the day-to-day.
That's right.
And they would have lived on site here. The only kind of rule about appointing a master or matron was they couldn't come from the same area as the workhouse, so they wouldn't know people.
Okay.
So everybody had to be kept separate.
Pretty blue chairs.
We're very lucky. The county council got new chairs and we got the old ones. So we're quite lucky with that. So this is an area photographed of all the buildings. Everywhere's pink labelled as part of the workhouse. Everything after was built on by the co-op or the creamery here. So we're here in this building by the dormitories, that's the door just behind me. But you can see it's a huge site. Originally built for 300 people. But 5 years after the opening in 1858, actually had to close the gates because there was over 600 people in there. So just that map of Ireland, that's every workhouse in all of Ireland. All the dots in the name on the right hand side.
Tullamore.
Rhoda has her.
So it will be tomorrow.
The death toll in workhouse every year we reckon was about 55-60%. So you know you didn't really have much. If you survived 1 year, you might have survived the second year.
Yeah.
Nobody in the workhouse, well, none of the women or children in the workhouse would have shoes. If you came in with a pair of shoes, which is fairly unusual, they've been taken off to stop other people fighting over them. So the bars and the windows of the original workhouse. In 1920, when the British garrison was here, this is your jail cell.
Yes.
So they used to take, if they found somebody close by that they thought had a link to the IRA, they'd take them people prisoner, leave them in here, and then they'd wait for black and tans to come and interrogate them. This room was for 11 to 15-year-olds, so the old boys. Now you can see this room is only half the size compared to 2 10-year-olds, and there'd be 2 reasons for that. One was that there was a lot of people dying, so children just didn't make it to age. And the next one, so anyone the master had out working in the quarry, the master would get paid for it. Yeah, so if the fire went out, the bedpan wasn't quick enough, the children would be punished for it. It's brought into the lunchroom and beaten, and then the job would be given to somebody else. But yeah, when they went down to the river to wash on Thursday, their clothes were taken away to the laundry here on site and washed, and they were given a different set. That's how, but once a week, down in the river to wash yourself, no matter the weather.
To the corner road.
What's the name of the place here, Rob?
2 stairways.
Yeah, this is a special staircase.
Okay.
This is an original staircase we're going down. But if you go look through the middle of the steps, you can see a lighter shade of colour.
Yeah.
So there's a carpet on it.
Oh yeah, there's the door right there.
Now this room hasn't really been touched since 1920, so you can see it started to show its age. But a couple of things, so one of the soldiers here in 1920 when he was aboard started drawing the walls, as you would if you're here 5 months in fairness. So some of the things I point out would be drawn by a soldier here 105 years ago. So the first one we always point out is the horseshoe above the door.
For luck. Yeah.
Good luck.
It's got it the wrong way.
Exactly. When you're hanging the horseshoe, imagine think of like a cup or a bucket. The way it is now, there'll be a big arch right in the middle of that wall. We all had World War I biplanes flying around as well. And a nickname for them was Hunter. So you can see HUN on the left side and TER on the right hand side.
Yep.
And an aerial plane.
Yeah, so the
Looks
biplanes.
like a SPAD 172.
Fair play, yeah. But yeah, you can see them all parked up on top, and then the sash going around the pillar at the very top of that arch. You can make out some words on it. So you have the second Gordon Highlanders. You've done more where we are, and stuff like that. So. But it's funny in the winter months, like you'd actually look forward to coming out of the workhouse because it's warmer outside than inside the building.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I can see that. Wow.
But this is the kitchen of the workhouse. This is where all the meals are cooked. 7 women here working, cooking 3 meals a day, so breakfast, dinner and supper. And sometimes, most of the time, you're cooking for over 600 people. Now, as a one of the workhouse, if you weren't in the distillery, this was the next best job to have. Because again, you'd be warm all day, and even though you would watch it in the guard, it would be easy enough to make an extra bite of food here and there, tasting it and stuff like that. And they got their 3 meals per day. So kind of the main meal here, because it was post-famine, was potatoes. You got 8 pounds of potatoes, split between your breakfast, dinner and supper. Now, the story was that there was a lot of births in the hospital, but there was no mixing with the guards. The guards were usually after being fired from the army or the police force recruited and then brought into a workhouse to work and mind people, and they could do what they wanted. The only punishment, if they were seen as being overly cruel or anything like that, the only punishment they could get was being fired. So then they could leave here, go to
Go to
Adelaide or
another,
Australia,
yeah.
walk into that workhouse and do it all over again.
Yep.
What do you think so far, Beth?
It's very depressing.
So it seems like the people that were here had like an opportunity to survive. The kids got education if they could get out of here. They would
don't
have been
think
the
that
few
happens
that
very
no,
often.
it doesn't sound like it.
So when I kind of started giving tours here, the word of mouth was that this hole was originally dug about 12 foot deep, and if I stuck a shovel in there now I'd hit bone. And it's just people on top of people on top of people. I know when they're putting up the gravestone in 1993 they found bones immediately,
Right.
trying to build the foundation for it. Now the railing is original, and you can see the railing going through the graveyard is kind of unusual. We're not fully
Split.
sure why we kind of have three theories. One is that to separate adults and children.
Yep.
Another is that the graveyard was extended, or the one I believe to separate Catholics and Protestants.
That makes sense too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them could be.
Like we reckon there's probably thousands of bodies in there, and we have one name, which was the local doctor. So when this place closed in 1888, most of the books were brought to GPO. In 1916, the building was shelled, so they were burnt. And the rest of the books went to Customs House. And during 1922, during the Civil War, the IRA took over to Customs House, and they would have went around looking for workhouse records on purpose to burn them. Because coming into the workhouse was seen as a great source of shame. So they thought they were doing everyone a favour. But byproduct of that is we have one name of thousands of people. And not only people who died in the workhouse to be buried there either. So there was a lot of people who preferred to die in the roads and die in the field rather than coming into the workhouse. So there was a man going around with a donkey and a cart and he'd pick up bodies and bring them to the nearest mass grave.
And we use the coffin.
Yeah, so every workhouse only would only had one coffin and would have a trap door in it. So what happened if you died, you were brought to an infirmary ward, you were wrapped in a shroud or a white sheet, your family was informed, which is basically just one of the guards coming over to tell you that Paul's dead, turned around and walking away. Then the body put into the coffin, on a stretcher brought over to here, the coffin be lifted off the stretcher, leave it be pulled, dropped down into the ground and line through over you. And that was it.
So wow, that tour that we took was really eye-opening. It's just hard to believe how much suffering there was in those workhouses, how they kept kids separated and stuff, and just really terrible. And Ireland is such a beautiful country. The people are so friendly. They're so nice. It's like, it's hard to believe that actually happened in this country. But now it's 2025. It's not, the 1800s. So, but moving on, we're going to look at the museum that's also there for agriculture, which was pretty good. So this is a different part. This is a museum here at the Workhouse for Agriculture. And a couple aerial shots. Back here was the grave we just saw for wayfinding. Vans parked up here. All right, here's a one-horse cart.
With a very interesting passenger.
Yeah, terrified. But look at how nice it is. The
Yeah,
interior, it's all
beautiful.
leather.
Yeah. Handcrafted.
All handmade, hand tacked, spring loaded. Beautiful door.
I could go for a ride.
The step. I think these are kids in the poorhouse, the workhouse. I'm going to leave you with that. So what do you think?
Very depressing. I was aware of workhouses. I didn't know how terrible they were. How they separated the families, separated the kids from the mothers, kept everybody apart, and just worked everybody to death. That's all it was. There was no hope of Very few people got out of here without just dying. That was the way they got out. But at least they were fed somewhat, you know. Terrible, terrible place.
Well, the next day in Ireland was a much lighter subject. We went to a whiskey distillery called Tullamore D.E.W. D-E-W, was the initials of the original founder of the whiskey. Well, actually, the grandson. But anyway, we had a really good time on this tour, and we kind of take you along for a little short look at it. Hope you enjoy.
I've done one shaker. I know, I just did one. So guys, I'm actually going to come around here so you can see me on. Keep an eye on Brian as well, don't look at me, just watch him. Now, we are going to be making you Irish coffee. Would everybody like to have an Irish coffee?
Yes.
Is there anybody who would not like to have an Irish coffee? Hands up, anybody who doesn't want one? Nobody not having any? Everybody wants one, nice. Okay, there was a silence there, I was like waiting. That is no problem, that's even easier for us. We use. So, we use 1 measure of whiskey, I believe it's 10 mils, no? 25 mils.
That's a
whiskey.
big difference.
Yeah, I know, I was like, I think it's, I don't know. We have these pores on the top so it'll stop us when we've added too much. So, we have about 25 mils of whiskey, we've got 1 measure. We're adding our Americano style coffee. We pre-prepared it because it's quite boring to watch us make coffee, but we sweetened it with about 1 teaspoon of demerara sugar per glass. So, even if you guys don't usually take sugar in your coffee, a lot of people don't, we would still recommend that you add it in for your Irish coffee. The company stayed in the Williams family for all of the 20th century, so all the 1900s, but there was a lot of problems with Irish whiskey. However, there was a lot of innovation in Tullamore D.E.W. So, with that, we'll give you the good news first, and then we'll move on to the bad news. So, one of the good things that's happened with the company was in the 1950s, Daniel Edmund Williams' grandson Desmond came to work for the company. So, Desmond was a very innovative young man. He was very proud to be a Williams. You know, as you can imagine, if your granddad is the name of the company. So, Desmond decided to put the Irish Wolfhound on the bottles. So, this Irish Wolfhound was a family pet, so they always had an Irish Wolfhound in the house, in the garden, whatever. So, he decided that he would put it on the bottles. So, as you can see on these ones up here, these ones you might be a little bit more familiar with. The dog is on the top of the bottle. So not as obvious as right now where we've got this lovely bronze dog in the center. So over there, there's actually 2 chairs there. 2 spaces there.
So it's a nice spot. What did you think of your coffee?
It was delicious.
Good.
Really an excellent Irish coffee.
Now we're going to learn about barley and malting and mashing and fermentation and distillation,
I know all of these.
drinking, triple distilling.
Those Irish coffees.
Triple distilling is important.
I'm not telling you what to do. Now. Yay! Round of applause.
Da, 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 da.
Behind these doors, I'm just singing. So. We have 6 copper pot stills in front of us here. These are handmade by a Scottish company called Steinecker. There are all of this silver equipment down at the far end. This is made of stainless steel. This is made by a German company called Steinecker. These guys here are made of copper. They are made by a Scottish company called Forsyths. Forsyths are hand-making all of these copper pot stills. Copper, handmade, all of those are very expensive words. They're worth an awful lot of money.
So what happened after the golf cart tour? Well, we just rode in a golf cart over to the whiskey barrel storage place, but they didn't allow photos, because, well, one spark could set the place up, and they don't know anything about your Apple phone. So they said no photos, so we didn't take any photos. But Beth did get a little bit of taste, and then we went back to the room that we're in before for a tasting of their finest whiskeys, of which I did not partake because I was driving.
Get 1, 2, or 3. We're doing very, very well. If you can get 150 to 200, I'm either going to call you a liar or you can bring Brian Kinsey. Yeah. We'll leave this number with you. Yeah. So you got a future in the hospital. Now, we're going to start with our original, then we're going to move on to the rum cask finish, and finally we will try 12. So,
You were kidding.
give the swirl, give it a nose. Have a look at this residue left behind when you're swirling it. There's going to be an oily residue left behind. This is from that oil content. So,
It's
this
the
is 4 to
legs.
7 years old, so it's quite young for a whiskey. With that oil content isn't going to be that high. So these legs, tiers or curtains, those are names for residue, that will be quite quick to fall down the glass. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, give it a nose. See if you can smell any specific aromas.
And that was the end of the tour, and that's the end of this video. And it's the end of Ireland. Yeah, we've left Ireland. We're over in Wales right now. That's where we're going to be for a couple of weeks, and then we'll be over in England. So stay tuned. We're going to have more videos coming up, and we'll see you up and down the road.